Hello everybody. Welcome to session 23 of the Emoti-kaun series. The journey has been long. It's been very fruitful. Um, Today, we have new participants who will probably enter in a little later, possibly so. Just to take a quick step back and introduce ourselves one more time. That's Sowmiya Bhas, the owner of, or one of the founders of the W Therapies, and I'm Hema Subramanian. So both of us form the W Therapies, and our intent of conducting all of these sessions is for us to spread emotional awareness, create emotional awareness, or just tap into the awareness that we already have, and hence make a meaningful contribution to people around us, to us and to people around us. So handing it over to Sowmiya to just take it on from here, and then we'll get back to our topic on hand today.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. So last week, we actually took a break. We paused. We were reflecting on a few of the things that we had running at our backgrounds. And we have come up with a clearer way of how to go ahead. Like we were already clear now, just forging ahead with
So it's
things.
on Sucheta's number, no?
Yeah. So with that, what we have covered so far, so we were using Mahabharata as a base, as a context, to talk about how even today we can learn from the great epic and what all have they experienced, what are the lessons that we can look at from that, from the series, and where and how can we implement what suits us in today's world. We don't fight wars today outwardly, in a day-to-day manner. We are still fighting a war, mostly with ourselves. And how do we win that battle? Because how can you win against yourself? But that's what we want. We are here to figure out where can we have a win-win, not just for us, but for our environment as well. So we have covered emotions of love, of anger, and with the entanglement of various other emotions as well: fear, jealousy, sadness, acceptance, a whole gamut. And they keep popping up in the characters of Mahabharata. Hema takes us through a beautiful journey. She's very well versed with that. I keep learning from her every time we interact. And let's see how do we proceed from here, this point onwards. Hema, back at you.
So I think, yeah, good that you brought me back to the Mahabharata series. What we were talking about today was more for me, some realization that I had in one of my therapy sessions. And yeah, now that you brought it back, I can relate it to like so many instances in the Mahabharata that makes us, create those light bulb aha moments in our own space. So the week we paused last week. The week before that, we were speaking about acceptance, and we said what creates acceptance for us.
Okay.
So how do we accept things that happen? And we said that for acceptance, we have to first be able to be okay with what is happening. To be okay with what is happening, we need to again take a step back and slow down considerably. So one of the things that happens when we are in the midst of a lot of chaos, like Sowmiya rightly said, the conflict in our mind, is too many thoughts, and for many of us, too many emotions, right? But even if in the absence of emotions, there are definitely too many thoughts crowding our mind. And in the midst of the thoughts is actually feels like the eye of a tornado. I usually hard sell a lot of movies and theories and books here. Again, hard selling the Mahabharata, the B.R. Chopra Mahabharata. Very well written, very beautifully written. Some dialogues are I don't know whether in the real Mahabharata somebody did say that, but I think the script writers have done like a fab job hitting the nail on the head, trying to bring in more, clarity into the observers, the viewers' point. So, please watch the B.R. Chopra Mahabharat. It's there on YouTube for free. So please go ahead, feel free to watch that. The other movie that I usually bring up time and again is the Inside Out set of movies. Now there are two movies. One is the original Inside Out, and Inside Out 2 is when the protagonist, the child grows into a teenager and more complex emotions come in. So there is a beautiful scene where this child in the middle of anxiety, so the emotion of anxiety is shown. She's thinking, feeling, and there is this uh, tornado-like, energy that is around her. So much so that she freezes in the midst of that energy, and for her to come out of, to snap out of that anxiety attack or a panic attack, ever Joy comes and says, it's okay, just let go, and it takes a while for anxiety to actually let go, calm down till the entire, the situation. So Joy has to find her way through that anxiety and take charge of the console. And then that's when the anxiety more or less calms down. So, and one of the reasons why people talk to other people or come to people like us, like Sowmiya and I are therapists. So, one of the reasons people come to us is that in the eye of the tornado, we don't see clearly. We can't see clearly. Even if we want to, we may not be able to, because it's just that much overwhelming. So the presence of another person who's just tapping you on the shoulder and say, see, it's okay. Just look what's happening. So the process of slowing down of the mind happens through an external agency, sometimes through people like us who are therapists, sometimes through meditation, sometimes through prayer, sometimes through other activities. Sometimes people find these aha moments even in gardening or painting. Like Soumya is a great fan of painting. And I think there's just revelations that happen, brilliant revelations or release that happens in the midst of that. Journaling is another thing that we've spoken about in our previous episodes. So being able to slow down gives our mind that space to look, to see. And when the slowing down happens to, slows down to a pause, in that pause lies our highest moment of clarity. A lot of spiritual schools of thought, like mindfulness or vipassana, they focus on this pausing. They focus on the silence. They say that go into the silence and you will find the answers to everything in your life. But that's the catch, right? Going into silence is the catch. We're so uncomfortable with our own silence, with the silence around us, with the silence inside us. We're so used to the chatter of our mind. However, pausing here becomes the in thing. Yeah. So here's a question. Just reflect back on your space and see what are the spaces where you are able to slow down, where you are able to pause. This is something that I leave it open to you now to talk about. When do you pause? When do you slow down? So it's open for anybody to answer.
I usually find that moment when I'm cycling around town.
Oh, nice.
So uh, not an entire pause, but it happens like a loop. So a loop is a limited pause, I would say. I mean, um,
You are active,
kind of.
yet you are detached. Because of that action, you have a partial detachment and you are able to think clearly. in that space.
Yeah, and another aspect of it, the reason why I called it a loop is it kind of helps me remain in one or two thoughts rather than wander away like a thought train.
Correct.
Something that I try to do during meditation sessions also, but I find it more difficult. Cycling is much easier, I find.
Yeah, your mind and body are probably too focused for you to drift away like that.
Yeah, and another experience which I've had is during yoga sessions when our teacher used to conduct them.
Hmm.
Uh, so that's another aspect of motion and activity and mental calming.
Quiet at the
There's a
same time.
correlation. There's a correlation between the two.
Definitely.
So these are two experiences. Yes, I would say yes.
Nice. That's great space. Samya?
So when you were, Mr. Reddy is saying something,
Yeah.
being with nature
Nature.
outdoors helps
Yeah.
to pause and reflect for me. Yes,
That's great.
that is, and I'm going to share a similar example with nature because when you look at nature, even animals pause. So when they get injured, what do animals do? They go into something called hibernation. So it's not just something that the bears do, but when an animal is injured, they retreat, they isolate themselves so that they can tend to themselves and come back healed and stronger. Now, animals don't have the capacity, the mental, emotional capacity. They don't work out of feelings. They just work purely out of physical injury. Now, humans, we are blessed. We have the mental capacity, the emotional function, and we can choose when we can pause and when we can rest. So, like how Dhwani had shared also, cycling is a way for him to reflect, to pause, which works well, which works very well. But suppose if you are in pain, a physical body pain, what do you do? Do you still push your body into doing something which will give you a avenue to think about, to reflect, to pause? So this another example that's I want to share is a friend of mine. So he enrolled into a Vipassana 10-day meditation journey. He had this back pain. So he didn't inform the office, the members that he has this pain. And 2, 3 days he was sitting, he's very uncomfortable. He was thinking of going and talking to the head. Now, if you have informed prior to coming in, they can make provisions for you, they can give you some leeway. Now, the lady in charge, she communicated that and she said, where exactly is it hurting? He said the entire back is painful. And she said, now when you go and sit down, just try to figure out where exactly in your body is it hurting. Where in the back? It's not possible that the entire back may be hurting. There may be one particular point where it's radiating from and it feels that the entire back is hurting. So he did that. He went, he sat in the meditation, and first day was little uncomfortable, but slowly he realized he was trying to focus on that pain and he could figure out that one particular spot where it was hurting. And the third day he realized because he focused so much on that spot and he could identify it, the pain reduced. And the fourth day, it was completely gone. So just see how the body is working. It's trying to draw your attention in. So you pay attention to what is hurting. Acknowledge that. And once that is acknowledged, he also got certain awareness why this may be hurting. Yes, it needs a deeper work. But for the moment, he could figure out that if he like literally paused and looked inward, he could find a solution for the pain. And it's 2 months out of the Vipassana workshop that he attended, no back pain. I don't know what was the root cause of it, but this is something that happened. So, like literally pausing can give you some miraculous effects as well.
Yeah, Soumya, just add on from my side. I have done two Vipassana courses, and in both courses, I've had exactly the same experience. Pain
Wow.
is a reflection, or what my realization through those courses was that pain is a reflection of your internal state of mind, and the state of mind has its repercussions on the body in terms of stresses building up in different parts. That which part your body takes up the stress in is dependent on your prakriti, as we call it. So
Absolutely.
that can be different, but if you're able to find it out and you say, hey, this is the naughty fellow, or something like that, and it's a realization point. It's a very useful thing, and Vipassana has
Yes,
helped me in this aspect.
yes.
So
Because
there,
pain, simply the
whatever.
way we decode it, sorry, just like the way we decode it is pay attention inwards now.
क्या हुआ?
That's what pain
नहीं, मैं
is.
नहीं खाने वाली, आपको लेना है तो ले लो.
So, yeah, I'm glad it works for you, Dhwani. Hema, you were saying
So
something?
I was saying, so finally, this is not psychobabble. Nothing that we've been saying. Here is a live testimonial from somebody who has lived through that experience. That it's not only theory and self-help books that say that. People have lived it. Yeah. So I think that's a brilliant
And just another thing, if anybody who's attending this session has not done a Vipassana course, it's a highly recommended thing. Do try it.
Yeah, that's hard selling from Dhwani. I hard
Oh
sell
yes,
Priya
definitely.
Chopra Mahabharat, he hard sells Vipassana. Not for the weak-hearted. Yeah, I still don't have the courage to go ahead and do that. But I think it's worthwhile to sit with yourself. Like what Soumya said resonates a lot with me. Like we talk about this physical pain originating from one single point. Doesn't our life also work the same way? One simple belief about our life or about ourselves, something as straightforward as I'm not good enough, or I don't feel good enough, or I don't deserve a good life. Like one simple thought like that, just like your entire life is based on that, you know? And to go back to that one point where it all started, that becomes an entire journey, a healing journey in itself. Yeah? Both Soumya and I are practitioners of regression therapy. We've seen this in therapy sessions. Like, oh my God, like what I feel today is a result of what I felt when I was maybe 3 years old or 8 years old, or I don't know. That's, yeah, it's just like a light bulb moment where you say that, wow, that's the time when I decided that. And every pain or every painful belief or instance that's happening today is probably originating from that one spot. And if again we are able to be with ourselves in that moments of silence and hence of acceptance, I think just miraculous transformations that happen. So that's that. So that's about pausing. And also to a great extent, where what Dhwani happened to say is that your body and your mind are so aligned that you will keep getting reminders and you will keep getting these knocks on the door saying that look at me. Like some, I think that's a brilliant way to remind you of what pain means. Pay attention inwards now. And if we are able to acknowledge that part of our life, and I think nothing can be a clearer indication of you having to pause than a physical symptom that comes up, whether it's a headache or it's whatever that's coming up today. I think it's a brilliant way of your body and your mind both telling you that, hey, look, it's time to pause and it's time to work. Something needs your attention right now. So I think that's brilliant. So we'd still go back to the other guys and ask them, where do they find their space of silence, their space of pausing? I personally find it in the bathroom more often when I'm taking a shower. I think something about water. I tried to do that with with swimming, but unfortunately that created more chaos. I think standing under the shower can make me go absolutely thoughtless. Some of the most amazing revelations and business ideas have come out of the shower, including a cleaner me. But that's my space of finding my silence, my pause. What about the others? Purvi, Sharda, anything to add? Samir, did you take your go at it? Where do you pause?
No, so I was just reflecting. So I find that like I have a small ritual of meditating, of blessing myself and all my loved ones. And I'm a shamanic practitioner as well. So I tend to find that stillness, centeredness in those journeys. So every day, maybe for 5 minutes, I find that, and that charges me up for the entire day. It if I have a question or if I have any kind of pain as well, I find my answers there. What is it trying to tell me? What is the answer to this question? So the bottom line is you are your greatest therapist. You know all the answers. Are you willing to listen? Is the question. And you get into that, you tune yourself into that, what we call as intuition, and you can get all the answers to what you are looking outwards. You all have it just within you. So, of course, I double check with someone else. This is what I think about it, mostly Hema. But yeah, first it begins with you. It must resonate with you. That's where I.
And
In
oftentimes,
fact,
this thing that you just mentioned, no, Sowmiya, so I just finished watching another rerun of the Mahabharata. I realized that the wiser characters in or the revered characters in Mahabharata would take that moment to say that yes, this is what is happening. Like there's this amazing scene where there is this conflict of how do we decide the Yuvraj? No, is it Yudhishthir? Is it Dhritarashtra? Because there is this thing of, oh, Dhritarashtra is the Raja, so obviously his son is going to be the eldest son is going to be the Yuvraj. But Yudhishthir is the firstborn of the Kuru Vansh, so obviously he's going to be there. So there comes a moment where Bhishma Pitama comes up with that solution, saying that okay, just split the kingdom. And way back, that splitting the kingdom is a huge decision, right? Because through the series, different characters keep saying that it's like a child. Your kingdom is like your child. How do you split a child? Maybe one of these times we'll talk about separation and how it affects children and all of that. But to visualize a kingdom and its people as a baby, as a child, as your own child that you're responsible for, that splitting would have been like so tricky for him, no? But then he goes into a space, he calls Vidur. Most scenes where these huge decisions are happening or acceptance moments are happening usually happen between Bhishma and Vidur. Both are the wise ones, the ascended ones, and they understand what is dharma, what their duty is, where their loyalties lie. More than loyalties lie, what is their duty primarily? So they are able to accept and move on, although they feel they don't approve of it. But acceptance comes in much easier for them than other people. Just as these are on one, like even Karna for that matter, there is a scene where, till that time, Krishna meets Karna and, he says that you are Kunti's son. You are Konteya, you're not Radheya. That moment of pause, that thing, oh my God, all this life, or this while I've lived as being cursed or being, outcast. And the realization that, oh my God, there is just, my life is not what I thought it was. So even in that moment, it's shown that he is conflicted. He is very upset. There's a lot of angst and resentment saying that, why did you do this? Why did it happen to me? He calls out to Surya and he says, why did you do this? Yet in his moments of understanding, of realization, of acceptance, saying that, yet my loyalties lie with Duryodhana. Krishna tells him that there's so many people, even Bhishma at the end, he says, I know, I always knew you were Kunti's son. I knew that. But he still says, my loyalty still lie with Duryodhana. So whatever the decision is, the decision need not be like a, there's no good or bad in what you end up deciding. But the acceptance of what is, what your life is, only will come from that space of slowing down. These people on one side and the other extreme, where Dhritarashtra constantly Vidur is telling him, think about it. You're not only the father, you're also the king. And he just refuses, just rejects the idea out and out, saying that, no, you don't get it. Don't give me this gyan. I know every time. This, he says, Vidur, you always have a bitter truth. हमेशा कड़वे बोल होते हैं तुम्हारे पास बोलने के लिए, because he cannot digest it. When he hears the truth, it becomes kadwa for him. Till the end, till the time he loses all his sons, where Krishna tells him way in the beginning, आप रुकिए, आप सोचिए, आज भी आपके पास टाइम है, ऐसा नहीं हो कि आपको अपने पुत्रों पे शोक व्यक्त करना पड़े. He is told that in these many words, but there is no slowing down in his mind, right? There is no coming back and saying that, okay, let me even consider another way of life. Like, let's see what happens if I look at this choice. Even that is not there. And therefore, the suffering continues. I think it just continues for him. So, like, I think Buddha says this very beautifully. He says, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Nobody is promised a great life. But how much you choose to suffer in it, like the difference between resisting and accepting the same situation, that makes a hell of a difference for all of us, in the quality of life, in the wisdom that we gain, in the quality of our sleep, the quality of our life, the lightness of our heart, in the vigor and the energy of our body. Like, it shows, radiates everywhere if you are able to be in tune with yourself. So yeah, that got a little philosophical, but I think we are at the end of it, end of today's session. Sowmiya, anything else to add?
That was good. Thank you.
All right.
If there are any questions or anything, yeah, that.
If you have questions, we'll park it because we are like almost there. We'll pick it up next week. We'll continue with some more stories of the Mahabharata. Like, I'm revisiting the Bhagavad Gita now, not necessarily trying to decode it. Disclaimer that, but some trying to find some aha moments for myself and some things that we can figure out through that. So yeah, see you next week, next Thursday at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for showing up.
Bye bye.
Thank you.